Let's take the mute off straight away. How are you, my friends? Thank you so much for joining Duncan and I, Cloudy, on this actually quite cloudless evening. It's Wednesday. It's Rokk Around the Clock. I just want to say before we go any further, a massive heartfelt thank you to absolutely amazing, heartfelt, amazing messages that you gave me today and still continue to give me. I haven't been able to answer because I've been absolutely blown away, and I know this is very unprofessional, but I genuinely have been amazed and more than a little emotional. So let's just get that out of the way because you guys are amazing and I want you to know that, and thank you very much. It's really meant a lot to me today. Thank you. Duncan, sorry about that, my friend. How are you?
I'm not as emotional as you, but
No.
but I'm doing grand here. It's been an interesting couple of days, and I'm actually settled down after what has happened last night, and I'm in a much more positive place.
That's great.
Following last night.
And so you should be, because we were just remarking before we went live, Cloudy has literally exploded. It's just been an amazing week for you guys, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it has been. It's been really taken off over the last couple of days. Yesterday was massive, and so we've actually broke a couple of records in Cloudy yesterday since we took it over. Set the all-time hits record yesterday, both from when we took it over and the site's history as well. So it's actually really taken off.
No,
I want to thank everybody for coming and joining us on it.
You're absolutely well deserved, mate. I know. Because obviously you and I talk quite regularly, the amount of work that you've been putting in over this last few days. But it has to be said, you are literally the proverbial pig in. So you ain't complaining, mate, are you? You're loving it, really.
No, and Kelly hasn't been too enamored with it over the last couple of days. Yesterday was an all-day sort of thing, but she enjoyed it, actually, saying me being busy all day and enjoying what was going on, and she enjoyed being on the podcast last night as well, or the show last night with you and everybody else. So yeah, it was been really good fun.
And people may not realize this because, you don't talk about it, but you actually have a full-time, very important full-time job working for the Northern Irish government. So,
Yeah, but yeah, I do, but we don't talk about that.
we don't, do we? We don't say anything about that. It's all right because I actually work for the Eastern European government. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Anyway, let's swiftly move on. So it has been an absolutely explosive couple of days. We had a big event yesterday, and we've had some more information today. Now, Rokk Around the Clock is strictly a cloud gaming news magazine. We tend to talk a lot about Stadia because it's something that obviously we're quite close to, but strictly speaking, we try to expand that. But please forgive us tonight, folks, because there's so much Stadia stuff. We will come back to normal cloud gaming, and we've got a couple of bits at the end. But let's start right at the top of the show because, drop a like and please subscribe if you haven't already and tell your friends and all that stuff. You know what it's all about. So we had literally this evening or earlier this afternoon, let me just flick across. Hang on one second, folks. Watch this. Ready for a clock transition? Watch this. Woohoo! How cool was that? We literally had, I can't remember when it was now. It wasn't that long ago. Today, 9 o'clock in whatever time it was published. So it was about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock this evening for us. We had the latest Stadia community update, didn't we? And it's interesting because it kind of covers off what was in the Connect, and we'll do this kind of in reverse. We'll do the Connect next because we want to talk through the actual presentation. But they talked in more detail about a lot of the key points in the Connect, and I've noticed across the kind of social community, people saying, why didn't they just do this first? Or, because it actually kind of makes the video a bit superfluous, doesn't it?
Yep,
Do you
it
not
does.
think?
Yes, it does. I guess he was muted again. I'm good at this muting. Carry on. I always mute myself. Yeah, it's annoyed a few people that some of this, but I'm actually glad they've got another wee blog update out here because I actually go over things in a bit more detail and give you a bit more things to chew over. And during this as well, we have discovered that there's a new game on Stadia as well, in Tomb Raider Temple of Osiris, which is another, what I call a Stadia game. It's another co-op game. So that's something to actually get your teeth into. And the best thing about it is if you have not used your Stadia voucher,
yep.
Guess what? It's free for you. So it's well worth doing it. It's actually on a pro deal at the moment. It's normally $20, but it's down to $10. For us in the UK, it's £15 down to £7.50.
I played it because I think it was a PlayStation Plus game a couple of years ago, or at least a year ago, and I did play it. It's fair to say that it's kind of loosely Lara Croft Tomb Raider, in the sense that if you're thinking you're going to jump in and play one of those beautiful 4K 3D extravaganzas, it's not that, but it's a really good game. In the kind of platformy sort of down to the left kind of World of Warcrafty look. So it's £10, is it today?
Yep, it's £10 today, and or sorry, £7.50 today, as it's a pro deal, which everybody, if you are Stadia subscriber or Stadia user, you should really be on pro. Just one thing about it as well, it isn't using the new Lara Croft models, it's using the ones in between. It's not using the old school ones, it's using the ones from the previous trilogy. Before the new trilogy. So that's just something to bear if you think, she looks a wee bit different. No, it's actually the right one from the time period this game was made. So that's just something to bear in mind.
That's fair enough. So yeah, tombs need to be raided. Grab your friends. There's also, I think it's mentioned on here as well, or if it isn't, I'm going to mention it now. If you're talking about pocket money games, they've also got on early access, one hand clapping, which is an amazing game. Have you had any chance to have a look at that, Duncan?
No, but I've seen some of the community reaction out there, and it is really class. There's people actually out there singing along to it. That's the object here, to sing along or play music. There's a good video which was retweeted by the Handy guys of Ray, and
Hmm.
he's singing away along to this game.
Ray singing.
Ray
Have you have you
singing,
have
yes.
you heard Ray singing? Clearly, you
I,
have now.
you have now, so it's well worth checking that out there.
It's £2.50. I mean,
Yeah,
even for early access, and I think it's been kicking around for a little while. So I mean, it's a fairly mature game now. So it's a for me, it's a no-brainer. I know it may be a future pro game, but help the guys out, the developers. They're doing some great work. And the thing that I love about it is that it's a title that could be used by people that have a physical disability. So, it's I'd love to see more of that, and certainly with Stadia, I'd love to see it because of the accessibility of the platform anyway, and seeing where people are trying stuff to make games more approachable and accessible, that's to be applauded. So for £2.50, guys, get your hands in your pockets and help these guys because I think it's absolutely well worth it. Now we're whipping down through here, probably not in a great sequence, but from the top. So we're as I say, a lot of what's mentioned in the community blog today is essentially echoing what we know from the Connect, but in more detail and written in a way that is more of interest, I think, to the established community. If I'm, do you know what I'm saying about that?
yeah. It's like the blog post of yesterday's Connect, but which
Yeah,
in a style which we are
yeah,
accustomed to from Stadia, where it's plain and simple and very, very easy to understand.
exactly.
It's pretty well wrote there, so you can just see what is going on.
Yeah, and I knew it would come out today. I tweeted this morning that, for me, and I've said this a few times, so it's no news, and we'll probably say it again in a second, but the Connect was very much a promotional video for people that have yet to embrace Stadia. So it's a promotion, it's a sales pitch. The community blog is where they do their here is some interesting stuff you guys are going to be interested in. It's why it's called the community blog. I mean, it's right there in the name. And I said there would be one later today, and if you want to know about features, and I was absolutely right. It made a heap of sense to me. And they're listening. They can see it, but that's their plan. And I think we'll come on to the Connect again in a second. And I get tired of saying it. This is a positive channel. We don't do negative. And I'm actually really still quite hyped over the games that are coming. So, Orcs Must Die 3. Why is that an amazing piece of information?
I wonder why that's an amazing piece of information. It is now a pro game, which was heavily rumored and basically spoiled before the Connect. But yeah, that is a pro game, and everybody seems to be enjoying that who's actually dipped their toes into it. It's another co-op game, another Stadia game. I did a post here on Cloudy today about the
Hmm.
reaction to the Connect. One of the things that was mentioned that Stadia does seem to have an identity now for games. Nintendo's got their identity, Xbox has got theirs, PlayStation has theirs, and Stadia's identity now is, for me, is co-op games. Be that play together and complete a level, like in the one which has been released today in Tomb
Hmm.
Raider, or just team up and go, like some of the games which we're going to talk about shortly, which was announced at the Connect. But Stadia's mantra, it does seem to be it's co-op, co-op, co-op in all its forms.
Yes, and I would also say accessibility, simplicity, and mobility. In fact, anything with itty on the end is probably going to fit in the resume. And I think that's shaping up, and I think we're seeing that now. And I know for some people, that is too simple and too base. But again, something I've been saying for quite some time. For me, it was very clear, raison d'etre. But I'm super hyped. I think Orcs, again, sadly, I've not had the time over the last 24 hours to open it up. I think I did open it up for 30 seconds and then I had some business to deal with. But the reviews that I've seen across all social media have been, this is a heck of a game.
Yes, everybody seems to be really enjoying it, and IGN, I think, gave it a 7. I think I seen in the chat, and someone else sent me that earlier today. But I don't, from what the reaction I'm seeing out there, it has been nearly unanimous positivity towards the game. So uh, I'm really happy that it's a pro game. Speaking of pro games, if you haven't already claimed Elder Scrolls Online, go do it now because it's going to expire very shortly. So go
Is
on,
it today?
just
Tomorrow, I think it expires, doesn't it?
yep.
16th? Yeah.
So if you have got it, if
Get
you
in and
haven't
claim it. Hurry up.
exactly, because you never know. It's what I say is you just claim these games because you never know how you'll feel down the line because your gaming change or taste could change and you may feel that this is going to be a game you may want to try later.
Yeah. And I know that the UI needs brushing up now that we've got so many games on Chromecast Ultra. But that will happen. And I think if you're just not claiming them because you don't want to fill your screen, you're going to regret it because you're going to miss some great games, and there's no guarantee that they'll come back into the pro fold. So yeah, get out there and claim it. It may not be your game today, but actually ESO is another one of those games where if you invest the time, it's hugely rewarding. We must do a Rokk review of it actually. So it's not my thing. But having said that, I absolutely know, because I love games like Destiny, that I just need to put the time in, and I'll probably fall in love with it as much as others have done that I've seen. So yeah, that's great news. But Orcs Must Die, there's an absolute claimer. And that one am I right in saying it's exclusive to Stadia, Duncan?
It is a first on Stadia. It is
Okay.
one of these numbers first on Stadia. They've actually made this. What I'm going to say about Stadia here, this is 100% a positive here. They are very clear on their wording on things for
Yeah.
the most part when they're talking about exclusive games. They're
Hmm.
saying first on Stadia means it is coming to Stadia first, so there's some exclusivity. That could be 6 months to a year, 2 weeks, but there is some sort of exclusive period to it.
Mm.
So the Orcs Must Die falls into this category, and it's also, if it's not on PC, it'll be going to PC shortly.
And I think the definer here, if you want to know what involvement Stadia have had, is when they start talking about Stadia games and entertainment, because that's the subsidiary that develops titles. So in this case, Stadia Games Entertainment launches Orcs Must Die, and then in a second, more on the horizon from Stadia Games and Entertainment. So when you see those three words, or four if you want to include the ampersand, you know that it's that they have had a heavy hand in the development of that game, and therefore it's, as you've said, an early access, not an early access, a first on Stadia or a complete Stadia exclusive, which is the case with the next one, Outcasters. And this was a surprise yesterday. So this is the game that we knew Splash Damage, which is an independent studio, an independent to Stadia as well as an independent studio. They'd been working on a game for Stadia Games and Entertainment for a little while, and we get to see it for the first time. They did say it was a kind of humorous game, and there's certainly lots of humor in it. It has, I'm just going to try and run the video here. There probably won't be any audio, but if there is, there's a little bit. It's me talking, that's fine. No, we didn't get much more than this. It's what's a minute and a half in length. Did they say when it would be being released?
Yes, there's a release window on it. I think at the top of
Hmm.
my head it was a fall.
Okay.
So that's reasonably close. And again, if you at the beginning of this, remember we were talking about how clear the messaging is.
Yes.
First in Stadia means that it's coming out for exclusive, and that was at the beginning of this video. We said only on Stadia, so you know this game is only available on Stadia.
Yeah.
And again, just looking at this game, you can see straight away it is another Stadia game. It is a
Yeah.
short blast co-op game
Yeah.
which you
Easily
can
accessible.
dive in and out of.
Works on your phone. Ticks the
And
boxes. You could virtually create a little bingo card, couldn't you?
and
Of all of
perfect
the
for
things that make a good Stadia game. And you could go across the firmament and go, right, what's just come out? Does it tick? Yeah, tick 6 boxes. That's a Stadia future game. I mean, there's almost that there, isn't there? It
Yep, it
actually
is.
looks really good, I have to say. And it's made me chuckle in the minute and a half that it's been on. And
Yep.
that's the kind of thing you want, isn't it? Positivity. So yeah, look forward to that one. The fall. So what does that mean? Anywhere between, I guess, end of
September.
September and through to December.
Yep.
Yep.
And
So there's one to look forward to.
and
Oh,
again
look at
with
that, Death Stranding.
yes. Yeah.
We'll come on to Death Stranding
Sure.
later. Um,
Another thing about a Stadia game, it's perfect for streaming, and there seems to be a lot of these games which are easy in and out. And I think
yeah,
this game, we're going to touch on this shortly, is a perfect candidate for crowd play as
yeah,
well, and maybe crowd choice,
yeah.
but which we're going to touch on shortly.
Yes. Yeah, I think we're getting to a point now, quite literally, you could whip out a piece of paper and write the feature, and then see exactly the kinds of games that you're going to get moving forward, because I think they're starting now to set that stall out. There's going to be a top tier of AAAs that'll be the big games that, the headline catchers that if you don't have, you're not in the ballpark kind of games. And then below there are going to be the games that Stadia want as their flagship games that will actually be the hyper accessible, easy to play, casual gamers, busy people, the stuff that we talk about on Sunday, basically. Rad, moving on. So a new game on Stadia that lets you unleash your... Now, this is what we were talking about earlier. What's a troubadour, by the way, Duncan? Let me throw that one at you to start with. I want you to unleash your inner troubadour. Google are asking you to do this, mate. I think it's a performer. Just, chat will put me right.
Yeah, that's using big words. I don't
No.
use big
Well,
words.
I know. I'm just trying to educate you, mate. That's all. It's
Or,
never
or
too
word,
late to teach an old dog new tricks.
yeah, or words I won't be able to pronounce. Like, come on.
Like unleash. Is that one that fits for you?
And
So
in
this is one
in
hand
there,
clapping. This is the game, the aforementioned one hand clapping. Again, $2.99 US, £2.50 UK. I mean, buy it 10 times if you can. It's an absolutely amazing game. I've been selling it to my girls actually, so we're gonna fire that up. They said, "Oh yeah, I've been watching that on YouTube. Looks really good." And then, as you've said earlier as well, Lara Croft: The Temple of Osiris, and that is one of the earlier incarnation in whatever one of them of Lara Croft, and as I've said, it's a sort of isometric top-down puzzle jump. It actually reminds me of Cripes. What's it called on? Hang on a minute. Let me just go to my little Stadiette. Where are you? Stadia. Here we go. It reminds me of this game. Where are we? Crikey, look at the amount of games I've got kicking around.
and how many games have you actually bought there?
Mate, I've bought a few actually. I have bought a few. Darksiders Genesis. It reminds me of that in terms of its look. It's similar kind of style of game. If you like that, you'll like it.
Isometric 2.5D sort of thing.
Exactly. I've bought a fair few, mate. There's a few on here. Rage, I bought. I mean, it's a load here that I bought, and then they came out on Pro. But I'm not bitter.
No, the point I was making there is you don't. The way the Stadia are actually giving away the games at the moment, you don't really need to buy games at this moment of time because you're just getting games chucked at you.
Well, and again, I think you're going to get exclusives. We're going to start seeing more and more, first on Stadias and exclusives. And let's not forget the long list of AAAs that are now coming to us before 2021. So, there's a whole ton of games that you will want to buy. But in the meantime, who knows? You know what? We've had 5, then 6 titles as pro games. We may only get 3 in August. So, we've got to be tempered on that.
I'm hoping this blog post actually mentions it because we actually know a couple of pro games coming up as well. As Spaghetti mentioned in chat, we know Hitman's coming in September.
Both two in September and 1 in January. So Hitman 3 is January. The other 2 are going to come out in September.
But Hitman, the original Hitman, is going to be a pro game.
And remastered, I think, as well.
Yeah. And what's the other game? Is it Hello Neighbor as well coming to Pro? Yep. Both of them are coming to Pro. Yeah, just remember the Hello Neighbor and Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek are both confirmed as Pro games. So we know our library's going to be improving here, and they're actually planning it out in advance for us now. Which
Yeah,
what's
that's
the some
true.
that's something we've been asking for, is some sort of schedule of
Yes.
what games are coming, and they started delivering that. Even if it's the pro games, we know
Yep.
what's coming.
And I think that's the key thing, because it's I got, and again, we'll move on to the Connect in a second, but it kind of overlaps. I got people's frustration yesterday, but when you take a step back, or take that helicopter view and actually look at what's going on right now, it's a rich tapestry. And they are giving us, as you've rightly said, they are saying we get this in August, this in September, that's going to be a pro game in September, that's going to be a pro game in October. So, if you actually take a step back and look at what they're saying, they are giving us a roadmap. And they're now saying, I mean, literally 24 hours after the Connect, the next, I think, yes, here we go. They're now saying 24 hours, confirmation of crowd choice and crowd play, the first time it's been written by Google, because up until now it's been, little snippets of hidden information, stuff that we've uncovered in games and trailers. So, this is great to see. And I have to say, the big example that we saw, again, we'll cover it off in a second, Dead by Daylight, where you could not only choose the sort of attributes of a character, you could even choose the character that they play or the level in the game that they play, again, down to a developer. But in essence, they can open up almost all facets of a game to the chat.
Yeah, and here's the thing about Death by Daylight. I mentioned this in my article earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a massive game for Stadia. When is that game coming out? It's coming out in September, which is in
Yeah.
the build up to Halloween. So you're going to have this.
Well, it depends. If you live in America, they're building up to Halloween now, mate.
Yeah,
it's bigger than Christmas for our American cousins.
Yeah, for a lot of them it is. But that could be a massive game, and that is going to showcase Stadia if YouTubers start playing that game, and that is going to open up so many doors. The choices they actually showed in the game is massive. With the you can choose if they're going to be the survivor or they're going to go around hunting people. If they're going around hunting people, you can choose the character that they're going to be. It is just absolutely mad on the level that
and
you
it
can
looks
actually do.
Great as well, doesn't it? I mean, there was, you know what I'm like. I love a realism in a game, and that looks really, really good. If only because it gives us something other than PUBG to play on a Friday.
And another good thing about it is, as well, we're seeing this across the whole industry, no matter what, and that is it's going to be cross-platform multiplayer, and it is actually having cross-progression on PC and Switch as well. So this is really, really welcome. So we don't have to worry about it. Are we going to get a game online? Because there should be spots there for everybody, because it's being cross-platform multiplayer.
How many games did they announce? Was it 12 or 19? Because I've seen it vary.
I can't remember in the top of my head. I think there was a good load, to be fair.
It was a lot. It was a lot. It could have been 16. It was certainly between 12 and 19. It was a lot. Now, add that on to how many games that currently are in the store, some of which, a lot of which we've got as well. We've got 19 games within our current pro library. There would be a few more to come. I mean, I sat there and did the maths. It's a bit like a flipping virus. If you like 2 years' time, you're going to have like 300 games sat in your pro library. I mean, then you're into Game Pass territory, right?
Yep, exactly. It's all stealth. It's a stealth Netflix, basically. Well, no, we don't want to talk about that to confuse anybody, but that's what it's...
No, I agree. And I think the problem with using the concept of Netflix is that Netflix isn't a great example. It's a bit like saying, it's going to be like a public library where you can go and get books. It's not, is it? And it's not like Netflix, because Netflix is you download and watch a linear form of entertainment. It's closer to Game Pass or PlayStation Plus. I mean, those really are, or even to a degree PlayStation Now. Not GeForce, because you've still got to buy the titles in order to play them on GeForce. We'll come on to that in a second. But certainly, I'd rather people use the analogy of Game Pass or PlayStation Plus than Netflix, because that's lazy. It's nothing. It's never ever going to be Netflix, because you're not going to sit and watch a video. And it's got that bleeding chef guy in it who I can't stand, the one that swears all the time. What's he called? Gordon Ramsay. It's got that. You haven't got that in Game Pass, mate, or PlayStation Plus. Why are there? Right, get back onto it, Rokk. I'm doing it. Don't miss Elder Scrolls. So you just mentioned rightly so that dies tomorrow, 7 a.m. PT. I don't know what that is. It's fairly late for us. No, PT stands for.
Oh,
I'm not sure what time the 7 a.m. is.
that would be 3 o'clock. Would it be? I think it's 3 o'clock, 3 p.m.
Yeah, so you've got less than 24 hours if you haven't claimed it, and it's going to be $20 if you don't. So what the heck? Give somebody money. Then we've got a whole bunch of summer of now. Interesting point. I've noticed my good friend Jem is in the chat. Summer of Games sale, which of course Jem uncovered, and it's there. It's in Jem's videos. It's all. He's got the receipts, as they say. And Jem uncovered Summer of Gales. Summer of Gales. There you go. Summer of Gales. Same. And this is the beginning of that. And there are some pretty damn good deals going on in there, aren't there? For both the pro members and everyone, as Stadia calls them, or Basic Stadia, as I prefer. Now, if you're into Dragon Ball Xenoverse, not for me. $10 for the main game, and then all the add-on packs for a couple of dollars. Farming Simulator still hanging in there. That's Kelly likes that one, doesn't she?
That's Kelly's favorite game, so it is. What I would say about Farming Simulator is you may mock it, you may make fun of it. It's one of the few games out there which has an active esports scene, and there is actually big money in it. So,
oh really?
Yes, you may think
Wow.
That's really funny
Yeah.
and mad. It has a massive following, and it's got a big esports scene, and there's
Wow.
competitions.
So how quickly you can plough your field and get it down to the...
Yeah.
I'm not taking the mickey because I know it's a hugely popular game.
Yeah.
Mickey, there's a little English phrase there.
Yeah.
But no, it's in fact, it's probably even a little bit racist, isn't it, really, given your nationality? Well, you're English. I mean, you're UK. Oh my God, let's get on with this quick. I'm digging a bigger hole than I'm sorry, mate. I know I'm digging so many holes. Oh, I'm tired. So yes, Farming Simulators. And I'm sure they've got fields in Northern Ireland as well. There you go, brings it back on track. And there's little packs, the Anderson Group Equipment Pack, John Deere Cotton Pack. I find it funny, but I know it's not funny. And then there's your Lara Croft Temple of Osiris. So that's an interesting point. It's literally gone live, $10. So what's its normal price when it won't be in the summer game sale?
£15.
How many? 15. You've gone very quiet on me. Is it me or you?
It has went very quiet, has it? It's £15.
£15.
£15.
Thank you very much. 15. Okay, so that's
£14.99.
$14.99. Okay, cool. Get on. But claim it anyway. What else have we got? Anything here that looks like a must purchase?
The one which is in fun territory for me is, even though I'm not a big fan, is Dragon Ball. It's down to £8, so that might be worth, if that's been on your radar at all, you might want to pick that up. The other game which I wanted to go on sale, and it is on sale, but it hasn't went deep enough, is Octopath Traveler. I want that down. It's only got a tenner off.
Zero wants the same. I think it's the same because I love the renaming Zero to Octopatch. I think that I love the Octopatch Traveler. I went miles to find me nicotine patch, and I found one eventually. End of game. So yeah, that's your summer games sale. As I say, as predicted, as uncovered by Jem. And then they go into the usual stuff of let's look forward to. I mean, here you go. Baldur's Gate 3. That's just around the corner, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I was going to touch on this when we actually came on to the Connect.
Okay, that's cool. We're moving on to that next.
I could talk about it now since we're going through these games.
I was almost there.
You were almost there. Is the way the Connect was formatted, you forgot about all the games which are actually still coming.
Yeah.
We've got Baldur's Gate. We have the next game there on the list, which we may touch on a wee bit later,
Yeah.
Marvel's Avengers. I completely forgot about that was coming, and that's only a month and a half away.
Yeah.
And that's a big AAA game. And we've got Assassin's Creed, we have Far Cry, we've got the swear word, which is Cyberpunk 2077.
No, positive channel, mate. We don't do things like that.
Yes. Cyberpunk. We've got so many big games which are coming now, and which we're forgetting about because of the Connect yesterday, because we're focusing on the new games coming.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. So yeah, and there's more, and there's some. I thought there was some amazing games revealed in the actual Connect. Right. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about the Connect now. No amazing transitions needed. I'm going to press play and we're going to run through it because there's quite a lot to talk through. Are you doing sign language at me there, Duncan, while I'm looking away? See something in the corner of my eye there was causing
translations.
Great concern. So,
this is
Connect. Where do you like to start?
Here we can start now. What they're actually showing here is all the games you can get on Stadia Pro now.
Yep.
Like, come on, there is millions there to start off with. Let's
slow it down because then we can keep up with it, can't we?
Yeah. No, it's fine now because I think the person's going to start talking here in a second and just saying all these games are coming on Stadia Pro, and then we've got the
Megan Trainor, whatever she was called. Mm-hmm.
And I think we sometimes can't see the wood for the trees in regards to Stadia.
Mm-hmm.
We're not getting all the games we want, and we seem to be focusing more on the games which we're not getting rather than the games that we are getting.
Yeah.
We have two of the biggest sports games coming, which wasn't mentioned in this, in FIFA and Madden. So that's for both sides of the Atlantic. We've got FIFA for over here in the UK. We've got Madden for the people in the States. I know that's very generic and whatnot, but it's two biggest sports games going, and we're getting them on Stadia, the next version of them in Stadia. So that is one of the big boxes which we need to tick here.
No, you're right. I mean, yes. And it doesn't just stop there, of course. There's other sports games coming as well. And we've also got NBA. There's the golfing game. And we've also got F1 that's just literally come on. There's a huge amount of sports titles, actually, on there. Then this is PUBG
this is about click to play, which is going to be a massive feature when we're talking about all the other things which are coming as well. So if you're watching your favorite streamer play PUBG and you go, I actually fancy a wee go at PUBG, all you have to do is, if you're a pro subscriber, this is for any of the games which are showing you have to be a pro subscriber to enable to do this. You click on the button and away you go. And if you own the game, you go straight in after watching your favorite person on YouTube.
So what's the big difference then between what we do on a Friday night, which is we line up a bit of a custom match and pull in a bunch of folk? What's the difference between that in PUBG and what you can already do anyway on any platform?
I think it's just actually just having the link automatically below it.
Okay.
So I think it's more advertising thing for them is play this now on Stadia, click the button and go.
And they're calling it click to play. I mean that's which is a nice catchy little subtitle. I like those. So in essence, then, yes, you've got games where you can invite people, but this is literally here's a button, press it, and then you're in.
Yep, exactly. This is our little recap of games which were already announced. For me, this section should have been about 15 minutes long, just to give us a full recap on what was going on, because we missed so much there. There was Avengers there was the PGA, there was everything there. So yeah,
you see, my theory goes like this. The one thing that we know that Google do and do well.
Game.
Pardon?
Really, this is another key game for Stadia going forward. Sorry for
Oh, you want me to
interrupting.
pause, do you? Okay, because I'm determined to get my little theory out, mate.
Yes,
No,
it's,
once you start me on a theory, it's got to come out. It's like a
yeah,
splinter.
get that
Once you
theory
start
out
pulling
now.
it out, mate.
Get that theory out.
The one thing that Google do and do extremely well, and their entire business is based around it, is collect and analyze data. Right. So we might think 20 minutes, that's not very long. Or we might think, what the heck are they trying to, what are they playing at here? Everything in that 20 minutes, I absolutely guarantee you will have been scientifically determined. They know the absolute length of time that the audience this was aimed at will pay attention. They know that they can't go into detail. It's got to be blip-versed. Vlup, 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 vlup. And your brain, with all that dopamine stuff going on, is going, wow, 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 without time to think about it. It's a little bit like, I always say, with a website, front page of a website, it's a bit like driving past a bus stop. You've got that amount of time to get them to have a look at your site, and they're gone. And I think this is what this is about. And I know we want loads of detail. And we're going, oh, give us the information, man. Oh, God, I've had me fix. I need a bigger fix. Give me more of it, man. I need intravenous. They're not aiming this at us. They're aiming this at people that just, they caught their attention. And they go, oh, okay, it's only 20 minutes. I'll watch it. Go on then. What have you got? Oh, yeah, that looks quite nice. Oh, I like that. Oh, yeah. Boom. And that's just enough to send them off and do the research, or maybe go off to the stadia.com site and subscribe. That's what this was about. And that's why it's 20 minutes long. And I'm telling you now, they will have done the research. That was perfect timing. Not a second too long or a second too short for
Uh,
that audience. There you
yeah.
go. That's it, mate. I'll continue with...
I'm just going to add something into it as well. And their follow-up straight away afterwards, their 3 minutes. They had their 3 minutes recap, which was basically all this contents back down again.
Yeah, and 3 minutes is also...
A very long time.
How long is an average single?
It's about that.
There's a reason why. There's a reason over all these decades that songs are 3 minutes long. People have no attention span, my friend. They don't read books anymore. They don't eat proper meals anymore. Burger, done. Magazine, finished. Twitter, 256 characters. I've read my book for the day. That's who they're aiming this at. People with no time. Casual, I just want to play and move on. And the sooner we as a community appreciate that, I think the more comfortable we'll be with ourselves. Just saying, just putting it out there. Click to play is a great tagline, Clive. You're absolutely right. That's the kind of thing I wanted to see from them, to be honest.
Yeah, and I really like the look of this game, by the way. This is, again, another perfect Stadia game. Co-op, cry play, drop in and out.
Yeah. Perfect for mobile.
Perfect for
Mobility.
mobile.
Yeah.
Perfect for your mobile phone.
Yeah.
It's the perfect Stadia game. It's the Stadia Classic game, we're going to call it there, or something. Again,
No, it's definitely, we're absolutely onto it. There's no doubt about that. I mean, then you've got games like this. Now, this is Dead by Daylight.
Streaming game.
Death by Daylight, sorry. An amazing game, and I know it's been getting great reviews as well. And this is something else. I mean, look at that.
That just looks amazing.
How cool does that look? You're literally watching as people vote and seeing that little meter like a game show. Gamification beyond the game.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the big trademark. Now we know that it's not unique. We know that Twitch are playing with all sorts of stuff that's not a million miles away, and that's fair enough as well. But they are, again, slightly different audiences. If you're aiming at an audience that I believe they are, which is not long-term or long-time gamers, people that are fairly casual in their gaming tastes but like the idea, Twitch is it's not for you anyway. That's hardcore gamer land. YouTube is a more familiar place. I go on YouTube and I watch my fluffy kitten videos. Oh look, I can go and play a game there now as well. I don't want to go to that scary Twitch place with all them ninja people and stuff. I'm much more comfortable here. Psychology, and they've done the data.
I'm just going to add something more about the crowd play. We may find more about that on Friday. The YouTube are having a question and answer session about new features and the new way things are going to integrate for live streaming.
When you say question and answer, sorry, is this a live stream or
It's on Cloudy with a Chance of Games. I've actually posted that up there. Basically, they are
what? They've an exclusive for Cloudy, or you've put the
no.
article on there?
I put the article on there. You have to plug the thing,
No,
right?
I would be impressed if you'd swung that within your first week, mate. I've got
Yeah.
to be honest.
No, they've got a question and answer session on Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. UK time. So that might be worth checking out there, as we may get our first glimpses on how this is all going to be implemented into Stadia or going forward.
So confirmation that is going to be a live video stream.
I'm double checking now. My head's
because I think that, I mean, I don't want to put that down, but that is absolutely new territory for Google if that's the case. It's too risky to go live with stuff like the questions and answers.
It may be offline and you have to just submit it, but it was a question and answer on the new thing. Let's see.
Very, very interested to know. I would absolutely take my hat off to them if they took that risk. I think they need to, honestly, and I think it shows they're really keen to engage anyway. But if they can do that with a live audience as well, or semi-live, then I think that would be to be immensely applauded, no question at all.
Yeah.
Hello, neighbor. My little 8-year-old nephew's been playing the heck out of this for a couple of years. He loves this game. So it's great. He's going to get quite excited when he knows this is coming to Stadia. Are there any exclusive Stadia features in this one, Duncan?
I didn't notice any being mentioned there during it. However, I think it's just saying that we're getting them September and holiday 2020 as pro games. Okay.
Oh, right. Okay. See, I mean, this is, they're projecting 4 or 5 months up the road now.
First on Stadia here, or this is the game we've been just talking.
Yeah. Look at that little fella. Look, bless him. So he gets picked up with You can practice your operator. You can do the whole works with this one. Gain confidence. So, yeah, I'm really. The more I see of this game, the more I love it. So it's even triggering little buttons, building confidence. You've got, look at this, lovely, and you get to, what family doesn't like to have their kids warble in the front room? As long as you've got your cotton buds in, of course.
Yep.
Absolutely amazing.
No, it's you just. Sorry, just find the YouTube stuff here where we're just talking over here.
No, I was giving you the time, mate. I was filling in for you. I knew what you were doing.
It is just a question and answer thing. You put your question in and they will answer it, and what they're going to be talking about.
So chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
New live control and upcoming live features. What's upcoming live features which has been announced? I'm assuming, and you know what to say about assuming.
It's a sensible supposition utilizing managerial expertise, mate, and don't let anybody tell you it makes an ass of you and me. Don't listen to them. Yes, folks, that's a Rokk original. You copyrighted that one. That floored you, mate, didn't it?
Yep. The three topics they're talking about is new control room and upcoming live features, which I'm thinking the live features is going to be the crowd play and crowd choice, copyright for gaming and live streaming, and fan-funded monetization, super chats, super stickers, and memberships. So that's a big thing.
Okie dokie. Now this game, this ticked and rocked all my rocks. This looks stunning. People can fly, by the way, if you throw them out of 4-story buildings. There we go. Look, this is Outriders, not to be confused with Outcasters. If you buy this one for your young'uns, you may be in for some trouble. The graphics on this look stunning. Remind me, Square Enix, what are they famous for? Muting Duncan. Are you muting? There you go.
Muting Duncan is always a good sign. It means I don't talk. they are famous for Final Fantasy and Tomb Raider, so they've got a wide portfolio of games now. So it's because of all the mergers and stuff. They used to be a primary Japanese sort of studio under the Square.
Yeah.
If you remember back in the time, if you're old school like us, Squaresoft,
Yes. Yes.
and then the
Squaresoft. That's right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Forgotten about that.
yeah, and then they took over all the mergers, and then they've got the Tomb Raider license and
Yeah.
some of
Yeah.
the Western sort of games.
No, I
So
know we're seeing a lot of cutscenes here, and you know what my feelings are about that, but it does at least give you a flavor for the game, and this looks right up there for me. So I'm really looking forward to this game. Did they give a time scale on this one?
we're not going negative, but it's going to be 2021, which is going
Okay.
to be after other platforms, but it is still coming, so we can relax. It is
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's still in development pretty much, and it's going to be a day and date for us and other platforms.
No, we're not
No.
getting it then yet. Other
Okay.
platforms are getting it first. We're getting it slightly after.
Okay.
There's no date of it as yet.
As Clive says, and he's absolutely right, we won't even be mentioning day and date in a year's time. It's just, you know, at this moment in time, it's a thing because we're playing catch up. You know, Stadia clearly is not going to be the first thought in the minds of a developer that's putting a title out, but they're supporting it, and that's the important thing. And it won't be long before it's just, well, yeah, it's Stadia, it's PS5, it's Series, and so on. So, and this also looks, excuse me, this also looks stunning. And of course, at the time when we've got the ghosts of, oh, throat's gone. What's it called? Ghosts of something.
Ghost of I can't say.
Oh,
it.
I knew there was no point in asking you. What is
Ghost of
Ghosts of
Tsushima.
Motley Hall? Ghost Rent a Ghost.
Ghost of Tsushima,
Ghostbusters.
which is on PlayStation. This Sekiro actually coming to Stadia for me. It's another game which they must be really confident in Stadia for it to come to Stadia. It's a bit
Okay.
like Celeste that way. For people who don't know, Siriko Shadows May Die Twice, if I could speak, is a Soulsborne type game, which means it's a really hard game and you have to be really, really precise with it. If you're 1 second out or half a second out, that could actually kill you. So
Okay. Well, that's me done then.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Kids, get the policy out.
Yes. So if your timing's out at all, you will die in the game.
Wow.
Basically, so they must be extremely confident
on the lag. Yeah,
on the lag. So
yeah, absolutely.
I know there's been a lot of people making jokes out there. Oh, you're going to die. Everybody's going to die in Stadia, but they won't be bringing this game unless they are confident that it's going to work fine.
And we are confident. That's always. I mean, you really don't hear it very often anymore, do you? What you hear these days, amongst the the negative Noras, is, oh, but there's only 5 people on Stadia. They no longer say, oh, you've only got 3 games and the lag's terrible. And we know there's 6 people on Stadia, so that's just a joke, isn't it? We skipped through PUBG, but that was just they're rebooting one of the key maps, aren't they?
Yeah,
that's coming through season 8.
And there's the trucker, something it's called. So it's just a
convoy.
Yeah.
This here's Rubber Dick. We got ourselves a convoy. Oh,
and
wait, that takes me back.
And I'll probably end up still getting the shot when you're driving the car.
Yeah. That was just one of the best. If you haven't seen this, folks, go and check it out. I think it's on my channel. Where it's only about 30 seconds long, and Duncan's Duncan. Well, he's drunk and disorderly, but he jumps on the back of my buggy, and then we hurtle off. Camera angle and everything, and then there's just this cloud of blood as somebody takes him out from a distance. It's hilarious. Still one of my favorite videos. Eddie Road Up, here we go, Hitman. And you mentioned it earlier. There's 3 in the trilogy. We've got the 1 and the 2 coming in September. Personally, my favorites. I'm not a huge fan. As much as the 3 looks gorgeous, I prefer the gameplay of the earlier ones. And then 3 in Janvier. There it is, January 2021. So these are, I mean, they are great games. For, am I right in saying that there's a Hitman film being
There was
produced?
there was a Hitman film. I'm
Oh,
not
there
sure.
was one, was there?
There was a Hitman film, yeah.
Okay.
Hitman, I have never really got into, but I will be definitely giving it another try. This is what I love about the pro games is you can go back when the games have been added to pro, and you just go and play them. I fancy maybe giving this a wee go, and you don't have to download anything. You can just jump in and go.
Yes, no, absolutely. And, again, ticks the old box, short tension span, not a great deal of time, time poor, maybe a bit more money rich. And then they announced three new studios that have come on board to work on exclusive or first play games for Stadia.
These would be exclusive games for
Mm.
Stadia. So we're again, Stadia is not going anywhere soon. It's going to be here for a long
No,
time, and these deals
I
have
just want to pause here actually, Duncan, because I don't know if anybody picked up on this, but I've never seen this guy and Clive Illenden in the same room. You know what I'm saying there? There is a similarity, don't you think? That sort of hair slippage from top to bottom, that kind of thing going on. I'm
you
just
can say,
saying, just
yeah,
saying. Sorry, Clive.
it's harsh. It's harsh,
It
but
is harsh but fair, and it's a
but
beautiful
fair.
beard. It is a beautiful beard that this man's fashioning. I can't grow one that long, and he's got the warmest neck in Google. There's no question of that. And he was announcing, what was he announcing? Here we go. Only on, it was largely the click and play stuff, wasn't it? So it was, again, talking about, oh, I know I was going to say Supermassive. That
Yeah.
is Supermassive, isn't it? Because they are, a very highly revered developer.
The two that stuck out for me is the harmonics because that's like
Okay.
the music games, so that could actually play into
Mm.
YouTube Music. I'm just putting a theory out there
Yeah,
for you.
that's an interesting one. Do you see them getting that enmeshed in YouTube?
Yeah, their Stadia is framework is built into YouTube.
YouTube, yeah,
It's in their DNA,
yeah.
so it could be something along them lines. If you subscribe to Google Music or YouTube Music, you can play this rhythm game if you're any songs at all. I'm just throwing ideas that could do something
Yeah,
really,
yeah, yeah. Well, I'll
really.
just throw this out. DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. You can take that one home and bank it, mate.
You're just like showing off because you know I
I
struggle.
am. I know. Do you know what? I'm full of the joys of life, mate. I can't help it. It's just the way I am. So, Outcasters. I don't know. I think this looks great. I'm really looking. Look at that old green cow. I mean, whose life is not complete without a cow falling on top of them?
I know that it does look like a fun game. I think they let down in this because of Super or Splash Damage's reputation was big shooters and big
Yeah.
massive shooters that worked in
Yes.
years.
People were expecting that, weren't they?
But as someone brought up, I think it may have been Raf, due to the time constraints, they may have been only working on this for like a year or
Yeah,
two.
yeah. That's true.
So they've decided to polish up something really good, but
Mm.
smaller rather than going something bigger and maybe not being as polished. But again, it looks like a fun game which you can just jump in and out of. And
Yeah, I mean, I think I would just maybe polish that sentence a bit because I don't. It's likely that they had a game in development or at least planned, and they took it to Google, or Google were talking to people and saying, "Has anyone got anything that's maybe 6 months into development, and we can just help you to get it there?" I doubt it was literally, "Hello, hello, is that MD of Splash Damage? Yeah, look, you know what, mate, got a couple of quid. Do you want to invent a game? Give you about 6 months. Yeah, no way. Cheers, bye." I can't see that being the case. So I should imagine it was on the boil, but nonetheless, it's still and does actually look quite a developed game as well, full featured. And this is, of course, released yesterday. Pro game, a little early pro game for August, or I guess it's a late pro game for July, whichever way you want to look at it. I prefer half full. At Orcs Must Die, which I so want to play. I haven't got to it yet, but everybody's loving it. This was pretty much it as far as the Connect goes, wasn't it? And again, click play. getting those buzzwords out there, getting those buzz phrases out there. Get your free games. This is aimed at people that are, you know what, kind of heard of Stadia, but I don't really know what it's all about. Flashy graphics, quick buzzwords, friendly faces, stuff. And I think that's the key thing. And this is what you're talking about here on Friday, is it, Duncan? Share your stories, or
Yeah,
yeah, that's coming up.
yeah, the YouTube stuff. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's coming on Friday. Yeah, it's
yeah. Sorry, I
I
think I'll
I,
take it
th-
back a bit. Go on.
I think what we're going to see on Friday could be an explosion, or maybe not an explosion. A People getting ready to start looking at Stadia for gaming, if YouTube streamers going forward. Uh, if they implement these features and really showcase them, this could really bolster Stadia.
Yeah.
Could I use this example? If PewDiePie starts playing on Stadia for one game of PUBG and says drops a link, boom, you can come and join us.
Well, if he wants to join us on a Friday night, I don't have a. We'll find him a slot. It's not a problem. If you're watching, and I know he does watch, Ninja watches this, and we've even got Mr. Dr. Disrespectful, I think, pops in from time to time. You guys want to pop in on a Friday? We're fine with that. We don't have a problem with that, do we? We're quite happy with all that.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah,
You're more than welcome.
see, Stadia has the groundwork to just take off at any sort of time at all. It's just when it's going to take off. It's just hard to really predict. Stadia is growing, but it's not. It hasn't got market saturation yet, or too many people. A lot of people playing it compared to the other platforms, but it is just a matter of time.
It's it's not even a year, is it? I mean, it was. I know it's hard to believe, but we've still got a couple of months before we get to our full year. So as I said earlier, you've got to kind of take a step up, take a step back, and look down at what's been achieved in that time. Actually, it's pretty damn good, in my estimation. Are we sure this is the same thing as Friday? Share your stories, or is this just a general thing?
That's a general thing.
Okay.
I was asked to share my story. This is how some of our famous people in our community got onto the last
I've not
Stadia
been
Connect.
asked.
I know. I'm sorry.
Not very famous.
This is like where Megatron X and Tom of Sounds of Stadia and other people were.
All right, don't rub it in, mate. All right.
I didn't get all. I didn't
All
do
right.
it.
We'll have our time in the sun. Don't worry. Well, maybe the Daily Mirror. I don't know. Don't mention the sun.
No, we don't mention the sun.
We don't mention the sun. Thank you, Clive's lookalike. That was absolutely brilliant. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it more, to be fair, today, because I think that's the key thing. You've got to take a step back and take a deep breath. Even I, with my little gif of Trevor running around in his underpants, was overhyped. But in reality, when you look at what they've achieved and what they're achieving, and when you kind of broaden out the scope of what's coming, it's all amazing. Very, very good. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Duncan. There was another little thing that I thought we'd flick open, which is other cloud gaming news. I haven't got any visuals for this, so I might just take us all the way back to here. There we go. Look at that.
I was just going to mention just one tiny thing while we are talking about this. If we just look at the next couple of months of gaming for Stadia, and we're just going to talk about games. August, we're likely to get Baldur's Gate 3 in August in early access.
Yeah.
We're getting Avengers in September. We are getting Watch Dogs Legion. We're getting Assassin's Creed. We're getting Cyberpunk this year. Touchwood.
I don't want any more games, Duncan. I've got too many games. Stadia, don't give us any more games. What the heck is wrong with you?
FIFA and Madden, depending on your football persuasion. We've got
very academic. Well done, ambassadorial, whatever the phrase is.
Yes, we've got Star Wars Fallen Order.
Yes.
What
and unnamed EA games to come.
Yes,
which they said, Uncle Phil said would be this year.
Yeah, we've got Watch, or we've got Far Cry early next year. There's a game missing, and it's really annoying me. There is some big game.
Cyberpunk?
I've mentioned Cyberpunk, so I'm just double checking the games library here. Oh, we've got the Hitman games, which are maybe not brand new, but there are two big games coming
Yeah,
in
yeah,
in September. We've
no
got
doubt.
WWE 2K. The Mafia games should be coming as well. We've got big games coming this
Yes,
year.
Mafia's.
And there's so many games we've just forgotten about because we've been
I know,
just so focused on the
I know.
Connect today or yesterday. It's big games are coming to Stadia. It's just the it's just a game. You just need to modify probably the presentation slightly just to remind us what's coming.
I don't agree. I'm
But you
sorry,
don't
but
agree.
I don't agree. I genuinely think it was perfect for its audience, and that's the key. The community blog is for us. That's why it's called community. You know, the social stuff, stuff that's released through people like your good self at Cloudy and Dan and the guys at Stadia Source. That's for us. This is for the new audience. This is where people go, oh, they never advertise. And they never advertise. How are they going to get people on board? There you go. And it's up to us to sneeze that, make it viral. That's the key thing. Not be negative Nancy's. That's not for us. Look, listen, I searched for Cloudy Games, mate. You said if I went searching for Cloudy Games on Google, I would find you. What I've actually found is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and and something, there's an app. You're doing that sign language again, aren't you? Stop doing
Just,
it,
just,
mate.
just below, we're getting there. We're moving up the rankings. We're moving there. We're getting there.
I'm trying to do you a favor. Right, here we go. Let's get it going. Let's get it on. If we flick back, zoop, there we go.
Yeah,
Look at that. So here it is. I tell you what, I have to say,
I
for
like the logo.
the logo's gorgeous, mate.
Oh, well, who
That
did the logo?
I don't know, but whoever it is, they deserve, I don't know, an Oscar or a Novello or something. Damn good piece of design that, mate. Right then. What the dickens have we got on Cloudy this week? Let's have a little flick down through. So Lara, the thing I love, the thing I really love about this site is if you go to articles, it says, "What's up, Rokk?"
Hmm.
Did you know that? Did you know that, Duncan?
Yes.
You got like this fella does a little guest slot. Look,
Yep.
it's very insightful work, I have to say.
Yep. And if anybody else wants to come and do a wee article, come more than welcome to, and we'll drop it on here, and we'll get it pushed out for everybody there.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I was talking to Dan earlier, and he's doing something similar on Stadia Source as well, which is all cool because it's important
Yep.
that both our major sites of news are successful.
Yep.
Um,
And just to put this on public record here, me and Dan are sitting. We've been talking again today. Where there's no bad blood. Everybody is fine,
no, of course not.
and we're helping each other out. That's what we're talking behind the scenes, and we're linking to each other. So,
You were saying something earlier that you wanted to touch on with the
oh
Avengers.
yes. Oh, sorry for that bit of a distraction
No,
there.
it's nice. I no, listen, it's all positive, mate. Hugs and kisses and stuff. It's
Yes.
important. Too much negativity in the world.
That we have got information. The next Avengers game is getting its next war table, and that is happening on the 29th of July about 6 o'clock UK time.
Hmm.
And beta access is going up for PlayStation on the 7th of August for people who pre-order. We've got 3 different betas. If you're not pre-ordering, the one you have to look out for is the 21st of August, and it goes into open beta for everybody on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. So if you're on Shadow, you can go and download that,
Okay.
which is a PC one in the cloud. So for me, I'm really looking forward to this, and
I have
I
to
think
say, I'm not. You know me, I'm not a massive comic book fan, but this game looks great. It really does look good. Um, yeah. So I'm looking forward to this. So just to recap, the actual game proper comes out on September the 4th, and that's going to be just about everywhere. And then PlayStation gets some kind of a deal. So here we go. It's actually here. So zoom in a tad there. See that a bit easier. So August the 7th, PlayStation pre-order beta, and then the 14th, so a week later, Xbox and PC pre-order beta. Will that be Steam as well? Sorry, not Steam. GeForce Now.
I'm not sure about GeForce Now, but
Okay.
you'll be able to do it on Steam. So it's just some general news out there. So if Stadia
I'm
isn't,
logged in, Eddie.
uh, sorry, I'm just distracted there. uh, with if you've got other platforms, if you've
Yeah.
got an Xbox or PlayStation and you're supplementary in your Stadia or vice versa, you can actually try out the Avengers 21st of August and give it a go. So to see if you want to get it on Stadia or
Yeah.
anywhere else.
Brilliant. And then the September 4th. So that's excellent. Looking forward to that one. And what's this all about here? That looks nothing like you. That's a fella from Monty Python, isn't it?
Okay, here's a question for you. If you go back to that icon, what game is that from?
I actually do know this, Duncan.
Oh, damn it. Does anybody know in chat?
I won't say anything. I'll let chat tell you what game that's from.
And we'll see if anybody gets what game that's from. But if no one does, we can tell. You can say at the end.
I don't actually know. I'm just playing with you, mate. I haven't got a clue.
Oh, then I'm going to give you some boring facts about that game as well. I'll give you a hint. It is made by Sensible Software.
I know what this game is. Far Cry 6.
Far Cry 6.
And we've got that. That is something we skipped. That is coming to Stadia.
Yep.
When?
It's in February.
So looking forward to that.
If I'm a betting man, which I am not, I'm going to bet that it's going to be delayed. I think I don't want to be negative, but just a horrible feeling that it's going to be delayed somewhat. One of the big pieces of news there is that Death Stranding has been added to GeForce Now, yes. And it doesn't matter where you buy it. If you buy it in the Epic Game Store or on Steam, you can access it on either. So
as you know, I played Death Stranding on PS4 back over Christmas, just gone, when I was off for a couple of months with a virus that was very similar to the one that we're all struggling with right now. And I absolutely fell in love with this game. I think one of the benefits of having that amount of time off was that it did give me the time to invest in it, because there's no question of it. It is, the story is borderline genius, and like all genii, they're not always understood, and you really need to spend the time to get into this game. But what I can say is, I as you know, and this is why I'm prattling on, I pre-ordered it for PC as well, which it launched yesterday. And I've had literally 5 minutes of time with it. But it was stunning to look at and to listen to, because it has an amazing soundtrack on PlayStation. On PC, mate, it blew me away. I mean, it is, Martin knows, I think Martin's still in, Happy Cloud Gamer is still in the chat, but Martin knows that all of the environment is based on his homeland of Norway. In spite of the fact that it's set in a kind of post-apocalyptic America, it's the landscape, everything is literally texture, photographs, and 4K scans taken from Norway, and it is photographic reality. It is absolutely stunning. So I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I would play it on GeForce Now, because I don't think you would get the representation of the graphics, which is really why I ordered it again on PC. But if you do have GeForce Now, and it is a massive download, as you can imagine, to get that kind of quality, then certainly I would recommend it. And a lot of people poo-pooed this game on the basis of, oh, here's some bloke delivering parcels. It's so much more than that. That's just a really fascinating mechanic, because, you know, you've got to take your character across a massive world, several different aspects of the world. So you've got mountains and all sorts of regions. A lot of the time you're having to kind of traverse this on your feet, carrying masses of weight. And so there's kind of physics that you have to deal with to go across this landscape and deal with these kind of invisible, weird monsters along the way. It really is a great game, and it's quite an emotional story. It has a massive hit at the end. Definitely up there in my top 5 games. Definitely up there in my top 3 games for this generation of consoles. And I'm so excited to see it on PC. And I think it's really good news that it's on GeForce now. I'd love to see it eventually on Stadia. And I know that there are some communications there, but as far as I'm aware, it's not a Vulkan. It's built using Guerrilla Studios engine that they use for Horizon Zero Dawn, which is part funded by Sony. So I doubt very much that it would have to be a complete rebuild for it to appear on a Vulkan-based platform like Stadia, which is a shame. But it's a small new studio. This is their first big title. There's no reason to assume there won't be future titles that come to Stadia.
Yep. I'm just gonna I mention 2 wee
Yeah,
things. First thing, before I go on to the more news here, Holtz is correct. It is from Megalomania. It is a strategy game which was on.
Oh, well done. Holtz is your man, mate.
Yep, he is. Well done, Holtz.
He's your man.
And do you remember Sensible Soccer? Or you heard of Sensible
I don't think
Soccer?
that's an oxymoron, isn't it? How can soccer be sensible? That's a bleeding girls' game.
Oh. But Sensible Soccer...
I've only ever seen Sensible Rugby, mate. I'm not sure about Sensible Soccer. Is that a good game, is it? Sensible Soccer?
It was one of the pioneers of football games back in the day, and it had tiny men, and they actually moved the men from Sensible Soccer as the main characters in the game. So for Megalomania. The 2 other news stories I would like to touch on. The first one is another game which is coming to GeForce now, and that is on site now. It's Hyperscape. It's a couple of pages down. It's going to be dominated by the Stadia Connect stuff here.
Yeah. So yep. That was a day and date release as well on GeForce, wasn't it?
It was indeed. And the other piece of news, which I actually forgot to mention, which it's geeky sort of news rather than anything else, and I actually want to see if it still works, is
look at that fella.
Is if you search for FIFA F1 2020 on Google, help if I was on Google.
Is it on your site?
Yep, F1 2020.
Let's search here. Save my fingers. I don't like the walk. Oops. 70 edition available. Is that the one?
That one, the one below it.
This one?
Yeah.
The Google leveraging game searches for Stadia. Yes, I remember you saying about this in the week.
So if you do a search for games on mobile, there you go there. It comes up. This may be a feature that they're trying, but it actually shows you it is available now on Google Stadia. Again, I don't think a lot of people have actually picked up on this sort of thing yet. This is one of my first exclusives, which I got to
exclusive to Cloudy.
Exclusive to Cloudy, yes, which I don't think a lot of people actually picked up on. So I actually think this is a big thing for Stadia going forward, where if they launch a game and if you search for a game, it goes down there. The interesting thing is, will they actually put a link in for Stadia? Because you can't actually click on the Google Stadia, but I wonder if that is something they're going to work on, or could to get into a bit of bother about that with the...
It may actually be to avoid any level of anti-competitiveness, if I'm honest with you, because if they are skewing the search results, bless them, in favour of Google, the last thing they want is to be slapped a writ on the basis that by your other platforms saying, well, hang on a minute, it also came out on X, Y, and Z. Why isn't it mentioning them? So it may well be that it's just giving lip service to the fact. But it's a very interesting point though. I couldn't reproduce this on desktop. So it's, again, interestingly, might have been territory related, may have been restricted to certain territories, and also to mobile potentially.
Because I was actually trying to do that in the web search here as well, and it wasn't working on the computer. So it may be something that they're testing. So it's just something.
Yeah, we've seen a bit of that. talking of stuff testing on mobile, I don't know if you covered this off. I know it was in a tweet that somebody had said that they had seen something kicking around on their phone, on their iOS, on their iPhone, about streaming from the phone to YouTube, I think, from
Yeah,
Stadia.
I mentioned that yesterday in the the hype build up to the Connect
Yeah.
yesterday. I just put a link to it. I didn't actually make an article because I wasn't 100% sure on it. So I just set the link out there just for people to see what they thought. But as I think it's going to be coming later this year rather than imminently now. I think it's when the new maybe the new iPhone and the new version of iOS comes aboard. Just do it all at once
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the thing about Apple users, they tend to upgrade all their phones basically straight away. So why would you be better waiting until
I don't.
you don't? Okay, I will rephrase that
No,
statistically.
they do. You're right. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. They do. Well, and the truth is, and the more important thing is that Apple all but enforces you to have the latest OS anyway. You certainly get a time frame that you can avoid it within, and then they say, sorry, it's going to happen whether you like it or not. And that sadly isn't the case with Android because, of course, it's on all manner of different hardware. Some hardware with Android on it never has an update ever in the lifetime or the life cycle of the phone. And that, again, watching my good friend Marcus, who I love on his tech videos, he was saying, and rightly so, that a lot of people don't like to change their operating system. So, with the one advantage with Apple is that you're always working with the latest thing. So come October, which I think is when, maybe September, definitely October, when we should see the iOS update coming out, the next one, iOS 14, with VP9 codec support. There's no reason to not expect Stadia to work on iPhones at that point or soon after.
Yeah, that's a good point you make about the Android. Android we could go down this rabbit hole and discuss this for ages, but
I've got them all, mate.
yeah,
I've got one of every flavor. Don't worry.
yeah. So do I. I've got an Android phone as well. I'm mainly a Mac person and an Apple person. It's both have their positives, both have their negatives,
Yeah,
and
of course.
you,
No, I'm not hammering either I love
yeah,
both. I've got an
yeah,
S10 and I've got a 11. I love them both. But it's the point I'm making is that, in terms of people updating their phones, you've got no choice with Apple. You get the latest OS. And that's a benefit if you're a developer.
yeah, and that's the thing. I think of the statistics were right there. Like 90% of people on Apple update nearly straight away. Android,
Yep.
you could be 5,
It's
6
huge.
different.
There's thousands. When you develop an Android app, there are literally thousands of devices that you've got to contend with, and ages of operating system. Whereas with Apple, it's like, yeah, you know what, the last 3 phones and 2 versions of the OS. So much easier as a developer. But but certainly the update, I think, in September is when we're going to see that happen for Stadia, which is just bringing it back was what you were saying. And there's no reason to not assume that we'll start to see little glinches of stuff being released that's in development. They tend to do these little spot releases to test stuff, don't they?
Yeah. So this is just something just to keep an eye on, and
Yeah,
I find it was actually quite interesting.
it
So
was exclusive to you.
yeah, but with my megalomania character there, which we'll discover.
Lovely little logo. Lovely little logo. Right, I think we ought to wrap it up, my friend. We've gone half an hour above our allotted slot, so everyone's queuing up outside for the room now.
Yeah,
It was worth it because it was a massive week, and I'm
yeah,
really pleased that the great thing about Rokk Around the Clock is, and it's sort of by design, is that we kind of come a day after all this stuff happens, so we've got that time to breathe, have a proper look at it, and think about what's happened, and then report it from a much more kind of pragmatic viewpoint than on the day when everybody's excited and hyped and so on and so forth. So it gives us the opportunity to look at it and go, you know what? Think about it. For the audience they aimed it at, it was brilliant.
Yeah, I think that's a good pointer. When we were doing our live reactions, I think we were a bit annoyed and a bit disappointed. But sitting back and just thinking about it the day after, and even sleeping on it, and just seeing the bigger picture,
Mm-hmm.
it's you can see that there is progress being made, and we've got more games coming. We're getting release
Yeah.
dates. There's a lot of positive news out there for Stadia.
No, 100%. 100%. Duncan, my very good friend, thank you very much again for your insights, wisdom, and struggle of the English language.
I think everybody loves that with me.
Yes, it's what is endearing to us, my friend. I was going to say where can we find you, but it's written down there. It's actually incorrectly written down there, which is not good at all. Let me just. It's been up there forever and a day through this entire show, and not once did I report it to myself. Cloudy with Games, at Cloudy with Games, not Cloud with Games as I had, and Cloudy with a Chance of Games, which is of course .com, the website that we're looking at right now. And of course we mustn't forget Kelly, who is also your partner in crime
Yes.
with Cloudy.
Yep. And I'm not sure if she's watching here tonight. So hi.
Love you, darling. You wee duck. Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much, my friend. Chat, once again, if you didn't join us at the top of the show, you wouldn't have heard my genuine, heartfelt thank you to the support that I've received today over my tweet first thing this morning. It has made such a massive, massive difference to me to see how many people care. And to say that I was a little emotional today is an understatement. So thank you so much. And I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. The key thing, as I've always saying, is there's no room for negativity on this channel. There's something great in everything for us to celebrate. Have yourselves a fantastic week. We will see you Friday, Rockstars at Night. We may not do PUBG this week. We might break the mold a bit this week and see what else we can dig up. But either way, you guys are the stars. Bring your controllers. Let's get some gaming on. Have a fantastic week, folks. Enjoy your pro game releases that have all been kicking around, all your Stadia stuff. And if you're GeForce now, or if you are xCloud, enjoy them as much. We'll see you soon. Say goodbye, Duncan.
Goodbye, Duncan.